What's up, guys? I'm so sorry for the people of Jamaica. Guys, in today's video, we're gonna discuss about Hurricane Melissa because in the last few days, the world has actually watched in disbelief as Hurricane Melissa, which we all talk about it as a monstrous Category 5 storm. It has actually toured the island of Jamaica, the land we all love, and in fact, not just tearing it apart, but leaving behind destruction, outbreaks, and a deep question we can no longer ignore. What is really happening to our planet? So, guys, the video is educational. It's meant to create awareness on climate change, disaster preparation, and humanitarian aid. So let's listen to this video. Let's watch the videos first of the impact of Hurricane Melissa, and then I come back with more analysis.
Look over here, look on this thing top here, sir. Look on this thing top here, don't look up, you know. See there? Oh my God! Respect the roads, boy. Keep on by the stage,
Oh my God, the criminals! Oh my God.
Jamaica is bracing for the full effects of Hurricane Melissa, now the strongest storm in the world this year. This Category 5 monster is bringing about it blinding rain, storm surge, and severe winds doing damage to buildings just like this. This morning, Hurricane Melissa on the cusp of slamming into West Jamaica. The monster Category 5, the strongest storm to ever hit the nation, bringing life-threatening winds up to 175 miles per hour, up to 40 inches of rain, and up to 13 feet of storm surge. At least 3 already killed during storm preps on the island. Sparks flying out of damaged power lines, residents hunkering down. Some American tourists trapped after all major airlines shut down, including Charleston, South Carolina resident Zykalyn Coley.
It's very nerve-wracking being stranded on the island. You don't know anybody.
Jonesboro, Arkansas residents Maritza Caver Blake and her husband were on the island celebrating their 10-year anniversary, now unable to get home to their 4- and 8-year-old kids.
We've been praying a lot. They were expecting their parents back on Sunday. We don't want to tell them Mommy and Daddy is stuck in another country.
Air Force hurricane hunters trying to fly into the eye of the storm, capturing this stunning video. The eye wall nearly vertical, the turbulence so severe they were forced to turn back. Now, authorities are begging everyone to stay indoors until this storm passes. All of the cleanup and rescue efforts are only going to begin once it's safe. Until then, Melissa is expected to have Jamaica in its grip for much of today.
So this is our hotel. We've had to have packed lunch, breakfast, egg sandwich, no, eggs, ham sandwich. You see how they boarded up all the windows and the wind is blowing through. Those were the managers. They said he stayed up all night. You see how they've had to board up all the windows. You should be able to see the beach this way. And then they've got tarps, everything barred up, you see? This is all the precautions that they're taking because Melissa rough. Let's see if you could see what we would normally see outside. You hear that? You hear that? So, this would normally be the view. This beautiful scenery out there. See the trees? You see everything I let down? Rain or fall? It's not ready yet. Oh dear. That's how it's going. For now. Ciao.
Glad. Yes, just so. Fire.
Hurricane Melissa is making landfall in Jamaica, one of the strongest storms to make landfall not just in this country, but of all time in the Caribbean. We're on a road that leads from Kingston west into Portmore. Just passed over this river where we stopped because it is just rushing. There's some heavy rain coming down. The river rising, starting to get outside of its banks. So we've seen some power outages. We've seen some minor flooding here in the major metropolitan center. The worst of the impacts, though, for Melissa, absolutely occurring on the western end of this island.
Came up on the road, everything is underwater. The waves keep crashing through the hotels. Look at that. Look. That is a shark. That is a shark right there in the street. Lord, please. They're swimming past the cars. They're right below.
My people, good morning. In Jamaica and the United States, this is Lance. I'm making this video. This is the first time that I ever seen something like this. If I say I'm sorry to come to Jamaica, no, I don't regret of coming here. Because things can happen anywhere. And Melissa Melissa is a strong storm, or a strong woman, or a whole woman, or a young woman. People have all kind of phrase to say that Melissa's boyfriend is in prison. I don't know why she's so bad. But I'll tell you a story. I go to Falmouth the other day to get some loaf of bread. I have to stand in line to get a loaf of bread, where people are fighting for bread. You already can get flour and all the necessary things that you need, cornmeal and flour. Banana, yam, everything is going skyrocket. Everything here is going skyrocket. I don't know after the storm what's gonna happen, but I know definite that people in Jamaica gonna need help. United States, of all my friends, Canada, I know they're gonna ask for help. And if you can reach out to help your friends and your neighbor, your sisters and brother in Jamaica, please help them as much as possible, because the Melissa is gonna tear up Jamaica when it's done. It's 9 o'clock now in the morning here. It's 10:08 there. 10:08 there, 9:09 here now. And I'm making this video for the first time in my life in Jamaica, making this video. I don't regret of coming here. I'm standing here making the video so you guys in the United States can see this. And this is not a fake, this is real. This is not a fake video, this is real. I'm glad that I'm here. But man, I tell you something, boy oh boy, if there's gonna be a storm coming to Jamaica again, I am gonna wait. I'm not gonna come here when there's a storm like this in Jamaica. You hear me, my brethren? I love all my friends in Jamaica. One love, one heart, one destiny. After the storm, I hope we can come together as one. Look at this, look at this. You guys can see it. This wind is tearing the place up. You can see for yourself, tearing it up. But
There was just an astounding update from the National Hurricane Center that Category 5 Hurricane Melissa has top winds of 185 miles per hour with a central pressure of 892 millibars as it makes its final approach into western Jamaica. This will make it the second strongest storm in terms of wind speed in Atlantic Basin history, tied with 4 other storms as the second strongest storm ever. Now, we often talk about the strength of hurricanes in terms of the Saffir-Simpson scale. Well, sea level pressure, that 892 millibars, is a form of strength. Think of storms' low pressure as a vacuum in the air. The stronger the vacuum, the lower the pressure. The faster air and clouds can get sucked in towards the center of that clear eye, and it's that inflow is what powers this powerful hurricane.
So guys, Melissa, I mean, not Melissa, the name of a person, but Hurricane Melissa was not just another tropical storm. It was a record breaker and one of the strongest hurricane ever to make a landfall in Jamaica. I know we have all heard the winds roaring at nearly 185 kilometers per hour and sadly shredding rooftops, uprooting centuries of old, imagine centuries of old trees, and of course plunging the whole community in darkness. Streets turned into rivers, homes, schools and hospitals, I mean places that are meant to make us safe, became victims of nature's unleashed fury. But behind the storm's terrifying power lies a truth we all must face. This is not just a normal weather. It's a warning, guys. So if we try to talk about climate change in itself, for so many years, the scientists have always warned us, and they have been sounding alarm about our oceans getting warmer and stronger. You know, it fuels stronger storms. They have talked about it. The Caribbean Sea, which is one of the place that we all know is really calm, beauty, and now stores heat like a pressure cooker. When that heat transfers to the atmosphere, it feeds the hurricanes, supercharging them into destructive beasts like Melissa. And just before making landfall, Melissa's winds doubled in less than 24 hours. That rapid intensification, guys, was rare. And of course, it has become frighteningly common in recent years, which actually should make us think so much about it on how to save our climate and of course the environment. Okay, these storms that we normally see in the Caribbean nowadays, they are growing faster. I don't know if you've noticed that. They have been growing stronger and even harder to predict. You know, in the past, you could easily tell, like between the month of June and July, this is the weather condition that we'll be experiencing, and between December, January, like it was so easy, but nowadays it's very difficult. So while we think that climate change is a future problem, Hurricane Melissa shows it's already here. While we think that climate change is a future problem, Hurricane Melissa has already shown us that it's already here. There is no future. The future is now and we need to deal with it. Actually, it's not a distant scientific concept. It's people losing homes, children going hungry, and nations struggling to rebuild after each season. Actually, 1 year has not yet ended, and we now have another hurricane. So it's good to talk about disaster preparation, because when it hits you unexpectedly, it's really sad. So disaster preparation is not just for government, guys. You know, our governments always have a plan. A country like Germany, it has a 5-year plan. But as human beings, we should also have a plan, because what I'm trying to say, it should start with us. And the difference between survival and tragedy often comes down to awareness and readiness. Every hurricane prone community should have a family evacuation plan, emergency kits with food, water, and first aid, safe communication networks to reach loved ones, knowledge of local shelters and evacuation routes. But let's be honest, guys, many families in low income or rural areas don't even have those resources. That is where education and outreach become critical. Schools, churches, and community leaders must unite to teach practical disaster readiness, and especially in places that face the brunt of nature's hunger every year, you know, an island like Jamaica. So preparedness is not an option, it's survival, you know, for everybody. And of course, we all want humanitarian aid, which is more than donation, you know. When the winds calm and the sky is clear, the true test begins: rebuilding lives. So humanitarian aid is not just about money, it's about empathy, coordination, and sustainability. Okay, after Hurricane Melissa, countless Jamaicans, I would say, countless, get the word, countless Jamaicans, they will actually be in a position that, you know, it's not gonna be good. So when the winds calm and the sky is clear, the true test begins, and that will be the rebuilding of lives. Humanitarian aid is not just about money, it's about empathy, coordination, and sustainability. So after Hurricane Melissa, countless Jamaicans, I know, they will be left homeless, and I'm sorry to say that. So organizations that deal with humanitarian aid, for real, I'm glad that at least most of them are racing very fast to provide clean water, shelter, medical supplies. But of course, we need, you know, this particular help to stretch far beyond the first few weeks. Recovery will take a lot of months, some years, and of course, it's not something that we are even happy about at the end of the day. And you know, I could see a shark in the streets of the island of Jamaica. Hey guys, just roaming around. My God, I really hope that, you know, those houses are really extremely strong. So that is why global solidarity really matters. Whether you are in Nairobi, whether you are in New York or Kingston, we are all connected. When one island suffers, the ripple effects reach us all. Climate change does not care about borders, and neither should our compassion. So let's look at the bigger picture, because that's what all matters. Hurricane Melissa should not just be remembered as another natural disaster, guys. Honestly, it's a mirror reflecting humanity's relationship with the planet. What is it that we are doing wrong that is making our planet, you know, an island, a beautiful island like Jamaica, suffer that intensity of destruction? So remember that every heat wave, flood, hurricane is the earth speaking back, saying, guys, you cannot keep burning. You cannot keep consuming and ignoring without consequences. We cannot stop every storm, but we can slow down the damage, guys. As much as we cannot stop it, we can slow the damage. We can reduce emissions. We can build smarter communities that can withstand what's coming, you know. Okay, you know, creation of awareness is very important. We need to support policies that promote clean energy and reforestations. That for a fact matters a lot. We need also to demand better urban planning that respects natural flood zones. So as much as we have these aids coming in, we should be ready to volunteer, and help them rebuild lives after the storm. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. But remember that we have a duty to use our voices for something greater than clicks or trends. Hurricane Melissa is not just a headline, it's a lesson. Let's learn it, let us teach it, and let us act on it. Because climate crisis is not just coming, it's already here. And we are the generation that must face it head on. So thank you so much if you watched the video up to this point. I appreciate your presence, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.